we had Eric do it, and that he ended up staying. He ended up staying. So
he did. He hung out.
Okay. Now I asked him when you guys first invited me a little while back, and I said, "Do you guys do you remember these guys?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, it was good. Do it. You'll have fun." I was like, "Okay." So
cool.
You got the green light from Eric.
Fun fact: we thought he hated us for a good 30 minutes.
Yes, we were worried.
Sometimes he has that effect on people.
Which was also great because we were looking at each other going, okay, are we sucking right now? Like, what's happening?
He was just really making you earn it.
He totally did. He did, but then it ended up being one of our most fun. So it was
good.
It was awesome.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Yeah. He started with, he's like, yeah, I got 35, 40 minutes. I got people inside. And then we hit like the 30-minute mark and we were like, all right, we'll start wrapping. He's like, no, I just needed an out. It's Friday night.
Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my... Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my...
Welcome, everybody, to Bacon is My Podcast.
Whoop, whoop, woo!
We are brought to you by the fun, fine, and exciting folks over at poddex.com, drinkwildbills.com, and grayrassoff.com, where you can use the promo code BACON to get 10%.
Everything is better with bacon.
Yes, to get 10% off your entire order. Now, we also have a vested interest in keeping our balls clean. As should
Manscaped.
As should you.
Manscaped can do that for you. Use the promo code BACONPOD with whatever you have in your cart, any accoutrement that you may enjoy from Manscaped, and enjoy 20% off and free shipping.
Yeah. Maybe just get the entire kit. The perfect package.
The perfect package 4.0. Get some ball wipes. Get some of this. I will say, this hydrating body spray. I've been starting to use that recently. Yep. It's been very good.
For those of you with a lot of tattoos, I will say that you can feel sometimes like your skin is dry, and then when you use lotion, sometimes it feels greasy, and then you go try and like put a shirt on or a hoodie on or something like that, and it's gross. The spray is like moisturizing, but it like rubs in right away, and it's really nice, and it smells good, but it doesn't overly. It's not going to take over if you're a scent person that you put something on, it's not going to take it over, like things can,
Absolutely.
It's nice. It's really good. I also use that almost every day.
Yeah. So Jimsy, we're remote again today.
Yeah, we are remote.
And
because I got the bubble
for that is because you just finished a 15-hour ride home. Yes. From home.
15 hours
to
straight.
Home from home.
Well, twice. I did it twice. I drove 15 hours on Wednesday. I spent 2 days in Indiana and drove another 15 hours home on Saturday.
Now, I will say, from when we went to Orlando a couple months back and had to drive home, I did 14 and a half hours and then 4.5 hours the next day.
Right.
14 and a half hours is almost 15 hours, and
it
still sucked.
It counts.
It sucked.
I tell you what,
it is brutal.
Any drive you're on, I think, and I love driving. Like I love, it reminds me of touring and all that kind of fun stuff. But I love being on the road. I love driving. I love just being in the car, listening to whatever I want to listen to, checking out podcasts, listening to new music. I love all of that. There's like a freedom to it that's very appealing to me. But whatever kind of drive you're on, once you get to that like 8, 9, 10 hour mark, oh man, it starts to just get brutal.
It's not pleasurable anymore.
No.
Yeah, I kind of find that myself. I feel like 8 or 9 hours is a long time, but still doable.
But totally doable, and like I can do that and then go out that night.
Yeah.
Like I can do once I get to like 10 hours, I'm like,
No.
my night is not. I'm not.
Shot.
I'm getting home, but I'm not going to go out and meet anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
15, it's like I don't even want to move.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
Right.
I feel awful. Well, today on the show we have somebody who's driven all over the place. She's been all over the place in the United States of America. Lived everywhere. She is also related to a past guest of ours.
It's our second Bischoff.
It's our second Bischoff. We have podcaster, author, personal performance coach,
Yes.
Loree Bischoff on the show with us. This is one of the non-musician ones. We're going to be the next couple of weeks. We don't have musicians on,
Right.
and this
cool.
one's
You
a
got to
cool
shake
one.
it up, man. Got to shake it up a little bit.
This is a cool one. I really like this one. This is a lot in line to me with the Mark Merrill one we had.
I was thinking the same thing. When we had her on and when we started getting into things. There's just a certain presence that someone has when they're in that field, I think.
Yes.
And it's like a welcoming one, and it's easy to talk to them. And she's, incredibly easy to talk to. She's super fun.
I also the other thing too that I definitely want to get out there, because I think that hearing people that are in life coaching or performance coaching or whatever or motivational speaking,
right?
The people that we have on aren't people that are just overly positive and like how do I explain it? It's like she's not.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
She's not like always grass is greener kind of thing, right, where it's like, listen, it's work. it ain't easy. But it's more. There's more of a realistic approach mm-hmm. to the positive thinking and stuff like that. And I feel like Mark embodied a lot of that, and I feel like Loree embodies a lot of that too. Her book is Common Sense Happiness: 5 Principles for People Who Want to Stop Whining, Bitching, and Suffering. So if that doesn't say tough love, I don't know what does.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That speaks to me a lot too. Like, I think that line is there's that difference between being a life coach and someone that's helping people, or and being a motivational speaker.
Yeah,
I think that motivational speaker thing sometimes, and Mark was actually great at it. We left that being like, I'm hype, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, but also, but Mark also, it wasn't all good. It's like, hey, I've screwed up in life, and I'm just gonna use that and not screw up again. There's a darker side to the motivational stuff. I mean, you got to go through some shit to get through and get a little bit of clarity, so to speak. So I think that this is one of those times, personally, for us, for our show.
I agree.
We like to be on a positive note, and I think that having motivational speakers and life coach kind of things on the show is important, but there's got to be some realism to it. And
it's not rose-colored glasses.
Exactly. So, what do you say we get into it?
Yeah, let's shut up and let her start talking.
Let's do it.
All right, now.
Enough. That's enough. That's all I need. And we're back. Oh.
Yeah.
Both got it.
We did it virtually. That's better than we do when we're next to each other.
Right. Well, what they say is with paranormal stuff is the virtual stuff, like a cell phone connection or internet connection, is even better to communicate with ghouls.
All right, so maybe a ghoul said that with us.
Maybe we're just ghouls.
Could be.
Perhaps. Speaking of ghouls, next week we've got Lindsay Paranormal.
Yeah,
which will be cool.
Be fun.
Our
nice segue.
Halloween episode,
nice
if
segue.
you will. Thanks. I've been working on that.
Yeah. Were you waiting?
No.
Were you waiting for that one?
No, I wasn't working on that. I was not at all. Jimmy. Well, first off, thank you, Loree, for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely
a cool episode. I hope everybody took a little bit of something away from it. Check her out. Check her book out. Check the podcast out. Podcast costs you nothing. I mean,
absolutely,
just do it.
And it's good. We didn't even get into why she's never watched Gremlins, but it is an early episode of her podcast, which you can check out, where she talks about like Jim Carrey and stuff like that too.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So, Jimsy,
yes,
where
sir.
can they find you?
You can find me, Jimmy G Shoots, on all the socials. Find me there. Check me out. Say hello. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and I'll probably not pay attention to it. My band, Craving Strange, you can find at cravingstrange.net. And from there, you can find all of our socials, everything that we're up to, and all links to everything, including Strangerhood TV, which is where you can find Bacon Is My Podcast. If you want to see us
in visual form,
if you want to know what we look like, see if what you're thinking in your head is what we look like. I'd be anxious to know what you think, when you just hear a voice, because I have a picture in my head of podcast hosts.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I see them, I'm always disappointed.
Very much.
So come to strangerhoodtv.com and allow us to disappoint you. Actually, our dumb faces are on everything that we put out anyway. So
yeah, that's true. That's very
so
true.
that is there. So, but you can find that at baconismypodcast.com, where you can also find Bacon Is My Passion, because we have a band and we put out some music and we have some clothing and all kinds of stuff. If you want to help the show, just like going on Patreon and being one of our patrons, you could also help us that way, where we got all kinds of extra stuff. Mike, what about you, sir?
What about me? I mean, honestly, what about me? First off, I want to shout out the BIMP squad over at patreon.com/baconismypodcast for getting these early episodes commercial free, a little bit of extra content. We had some, we did the one chip challenge on Strangerhood TV.
I hate you.
A little while ago.
That was so bad.
That was like a little taste of something that we normally do on our Patreon.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was
Terrible.
It was hot. It was hot. It hurt my stomach for a few hours after that.
For sure.
But yeah. Enough about that. Myself, I met me my own self, Mike. You can catch my adventures in family, in banding, and in all other things there on all of the social medias. You can also check out my band at Something Heavy Music. Something Heavy is my band, and we have music, and we have a song out now. So go check it out on all the streaming platforms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And always remember to ask yourself something super duper important.
What
is the time setting on this fucking this screensaver? That's what I want to know.
What is that screensaver? And once you find out what that screensaver is, everyone at home can find out what's your banking.
Oh, that's important. That's more important. I agree.
Whoopins.
Nice. Welcome, everybody. I did the Jimmy. I didn't do the hey.
Yeah.
I usually do like the sultry hey to welcome everybody in. But welcome, everybody, to Bacon Is My Podcast, where today we welcome podcaster, author, and personal performance coach, which is a lot like a life coach, but on steroids. We welcome Loree Bischoff. What's going on?
Hey, I'm excited to be here again. This is awesome. You guys are so much fun. I'm looking forward to it.
No, We appreciate it. You are you're in Wyoming.
I am.
Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. Yeah, we know that you are you've lived in a lot of places. You brought up in What You're Baking in 7 Questions. Santa Monica. You've lived in Atlanta, obviously. Chicago, long time ago. You also lived in Arizona.
Yeah.
Where you were also teaching other life coaches. Where in Arizona was it?
Right. So we lived in Cave Creek, Arizona, which is just over the north border of Scottsdale, just north of Phoenix.
Okay.
And we were there for 17 years. And then I was teaching for a short period of time, really just before the last year before we left. I was one of the life coach instructors at the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, which is in Tempe, Arizona.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I have family in Arizona. I think they're in Tempe, some of them, and then for a while a lot of them lived in Scottsdale.
Sure.
They all went to high school and stuff there. So Tempe is definitely the place to go. That and Sedona is a lot of healing stuff
right
there.
Yeah.
What got you into life coaching, teaching, that kind of stuff? Like,
well, I think, it really kind of, when I was a young person, when I was in school, I wanted to be a therapist or a psychologist or something, in that counseling field. But I detested school every day of my life. I dropped out of high school and I refused to go to college. So that means I wasn't going to be able to do. Clearly, that took all of that out of the running for me. But I was always a person, though, that's been for my entire adult life into personal development and self-improvement, and always trying to, figure out and understand and learn how to just be a better person, be a better human, try to figure out what your potential is and rise to it. So about 2007, I was talking to my sister, who also lived in Arizona at the time, and she was she'd been doing corporate meeting and event planning for her entire adult life. She had her own company, and we decided that it would be really fun to do a big, like Tony Robbins style weekend event for mothers to help them figure out how to have a more balanced and fulfilling life. So we got it all laid out. We hired a lot of keynote speakers and we had workshops. We did the whole 9 yards. And one of the people that we hired was a life coach, which was new to me at the time. I had not heard of life coaches yet in 2007. So once this whole weekend was literally about life coaching. So, and I figured out what it was. I talked to this person that we had hired, and I was like, oh, that's it. That's what I always wanted to do, was some version of that, of therapy. But obviously, as I said, since I refused to do what had to be done, so to become like a therapist. So that was like something that I could still do at that point in my life that wasn't going to require me to, at that age, go back to college and do, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of college. I could still find a way to help people, with all of the skills that you learn in a very good life coach certification course. So once we got done with that weekend, I found the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts in Tempe, and I was off to the races.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
So what I find that super interesting, because as a person that's often found myself in the position of being the person that people just kind of come to for advice, to work them through things, just to vent to, just anything, and being a very empathetic person, I've always kind of like been drawn to ideas of ways to help people, in different forms, in any form. I mean, that's part of what this whole show is us getting together and being like, let's bring some light into the world, shall we?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, and it's actually cool to hear you talk about, like, because I didn't go to college. I moved out to go be a famous rock star. You know, not quite famous.
Yet, maybe.
Yep, there's always time. But the other thing that always kind of drew me was ways to help people find. And the thing I like so much about like your podcast and your book is the shifting perspectives, because that's automatically what I've always kind of been able to or tried to steer people to do when they've come to me for things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So just hearing that you were able to do that is super inspiring to me to begin with. What is it that you think, one, draws people to life coaching, and what do you think makes a good one? How does one know? I've talked to a lot of people that are like, I'm a positive person, I'm this, I'm that. What is it that like helps someone become a good coach?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, as far as what draws people, the first part of your question, I think that it's kind of for the average, well-balanced, emotionally stable person, most of us enjoy in some way and have a need, kind of an innate desire to be of help to our fellow man, right? That's a win-win situation. Everyone feels good. We want to be able to be of service. We want to be able to be of help. And that's just part of our nature. For them, and it varies obviously from person to person. That can show up in a million different ways. But I think that a lot of people, in their own way, have a calling to somehow be. It's one of the many. Well, we have 6 basic human needs. It's like needs of like. Not the need that, we need to have food and water and shelter,
right.
But psychological needs. And so one of those is contribution. And when we feel like we can somehow, in some really big way or very small way, help somebody, that kind of fulfills a need of the soul, right? It's just part of who we are. So I think that, this is something that for people, again, that feel like they want to help people, but they don't necessarily want to go the traditional route of being a psychotherapist or a psychologist, but there's still a way. You can still find a way to help people. And this is a really great way to do it. A really good curriculum gives you some excellent modalities and helps you understand, what's within your skill set, what you should be focusing on, and what things you should not. So I think it's great for people that have that calling. And what I think, there are a few things that make a really good life coach. And I think that one of them is you've got to be able to be a really good listener. You have to really be able to listen without assuming that you know the solutions and the answer for the person that's talking. Because it's really easy when you think that you know what they need, and then to start advising, and that's a really gray area. You have to be really careful about that, because you want people you want to set them up in a space, mentally, emotionally, to figure out the solution and what they need and what their next step is, because usually they know somewhere in there, and you're just trying to help it emerge.
Right. Well, people don't like to be told what to do either. No. Right. So, I found that like any advice I've ever been given, the advice that I've tended to take is the advice that I've kind of like stumbled upon while talking about it and included on my own and stuff. But if someone's like, this is what you need to do and here's how you need to do it, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And that's an easy thing for people to slip into. But it's not always the best thing. Every now and then I'll say there's a time or a place where you go, oh God, don't do that, which would be something like, I'm going out with my friends tonight. And you know what usually happens after I have a few drinks? I'm going to start texting my ex. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Stop, just stop. So every now and then, there's a rare occasion where you go, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, you're really trying to help somebody find their way and let those answers emerge and help them find them by helping them see the broader perspective, as we touched on a little bit earlier, because sometimes people can get really, really stuck and they just can't see what their next step could possibly be. It's, we've all been at a place in our lives where we're just like, you're just kind of like so in it, you just, you can't.
Right.
You just need somebody every now and then to be like, hold on here. Let's just, what if you're wrong? What if your story is bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe we should, talk about that. So, I think you have to have a little bit of an ability to read people. You have to, I think a really good coach knows what kind of client you need to be a little bit more gentle with and kind of coax things out. And then there are clients that you just need to go, no, let's try again. You're bullshitting me. So you've got to be able to read people a little bit.
Yeah. Something I really love is on your podcast, you use the phrase "going rogue," and it's a really cool concept because it doesn't necessarily mean what people normally think it means. So can you just explain to our consumers here what it means, and also what was your going rogue moment?
Okay, so yeah, for me, I thought the going rogue thing was kind of cool because a lot of people, I shouldn't say everybody, but generalizing, has an opportunity in their life to maybe do something that's like totally what some people might think bonkers. Like that's like the most dumbest thing or the riskiest thing or the craziest thing that you could possibly do. And they do it anyway because something just urged them to do it. And they just figured, I'm going to jump. I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to do this crazy thing. I was on this path, but now I'm going to take a hard left. And maybe it was crazy and risky and all those things. Maybe it seemed stupid. Maybe you disappointed people, but you did it anyway. And then that going rogue move turned out to be like the best thing that ever happened to you. It was the best thing you could have ever done. It set you on a course, and and it's been an amazing path, part of your life. So I think that though, for everybody going rogue, for some people, what some people might consider risky, somebody else might be like, shit, I do that every day. You know what I mean? But so everybody's got their own sort of gauge for what seems scary and crazy and risky. It's different for everyone. So not everybody's, a high risk, high performance, extreme sports kind of minded person. So a person with that kind of attitude or mentality is going to feel like it's going to take a lot more for them to feel like something is maybe kind of risky or edgy. Whereas somebody that's more of an, controlled, introverted, not crazy person, it might not take a lot to be like, oh, that's really crazy for me. So that's why I think going rogue is very much about for the individual. What was it for you? Because it's not going to be the same for every person. And mine's a perfect story. My going rogue story is it's not that it's nothing crazy, but it seemed maybe a little crazy for me at the time, which I actually already mentioned it, which was I dropped out of high school in my senior year. Right. Now, when I was in high school and where I lived in the suburbs of Minneapolis, it wasn't that common for people to drop out of high school, especially in your senior year. You know, it might be more common these days, but back then it was less common. Right. So, it might have looked really stupid because I was a senior and, you know, I was like, wow, why? You're almost there. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out. I just want to work. I just wanted to work. I loved working. I had been working already. I had, you know, part-time jobs. And so I just wanted to go to work and get like a life that wasn't in that brick building, having to raise your hand and ask if you could go pee. I mean, I just like, this is not for me. So anyway, that for me would have been my going rogue movement, I guess, or moment. Yeah.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
What's up, guys? Going to talk to you a little bit about our sponsors real quick. Just want to start off with grillyourass.com. If you are going into grilling season like we are, then you know that you always need a little rub. You always need a little sauce. You need something that's going to help your grilling get better. Help those chicken breasts, right? They get a little dry sometimes. You want to make sure you're saucing them up. You want to make sure those ribs have got a nice dry rub and a saucy rub. Go to grillyourass.com. Check it out. I've used their stuff. It's delicious. 10% off with the promo code BACON.
Another place you can go to get 10% off with that promo code, drinkwildbills.com. They've got delicious sodas. They've got all sorts of different flavors, from sarsaparilla to birch beer to you name it. You got your root beers, you got your cream sodas, you got your creamsicles.
Yeah. Sugar-free for you guys. Watching the waistline.
Indeed. And also, they've got some great jerky stuff. They've got the brisket bites are A+. Indeed. A+. And if you go there, go to drinkwildbills.com, use the promo code BACON, get 10% off.
One more place you can use that same promo code BACON is our oldest sponsor, Poddex. If you're a podcaster, if you are a budding interviewer, if you are just somebody that has a hard time talking to people every now and then, or want to do something fun with your friends, check out poddex.com. They have these decks of cards, 50 cards per deck, 50 questions. Check it out. Learn things about your friends, learn things about people, learn how to talk a little bit more and be a little bit more comfortable. Always use the promo code BACON. Again, to get 10% off your order. They got cool swag too.
Indeed. And last but not least, of course, always frame the balls.
Yes.
Is that what you do? Frame the balls.
Frame the balls?
Well,
you could frame the balls.
You could. But if you got a bush, it's just not. It's the summer.
Get rid of it. Yeah.
Use the Lawnmower 4.0. Use the perfect package and go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code BACONPOD. You get 20% off your order. And they've got all sorts of great stuff. If you're a guy who's looking to feel so fresh and so clean.
Indeed. And not only do you get 20% off, but you also get free shipping.
Free shipping?
Shine up those balls. Get rid of that bush. Clean yourself up. And if you don't clean yourself up, start.
Yeah.
Bacon Pod. 20% off. Free shipping. Check it out. Thank you to our sponsors. Thanks for hanging out. What's your bacon? Would you be willing to do just a bumper for us quick?
Sure.
Just say, hey, it's Eric Bischoff and you're consuming bacon as my podcast.
Yep.
Whenever you're ready.
I forgot.
Mike,
Yeah.
do you have a moment?
I don't know. I mean, I decided not to go to college, or I stopped going to college more than once. And I don't know. Maybe this last move just I just changed jobs. I now I was in like a normal not normal, probably like a abnormal 7 to 5 Monday through Friday, Saturday as well sometimes. And then I hopped over to work for my parents' nonprofit for the cancer my mom has. So
cool.
I guess that's my latest going rogue moment.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, that definitely works. I think I was thinking of that one when I asked you. I think that's definitely it.
That's cool. That's amazing, actually. Yeah.
So,
how about you, Jimmy?
I've actually talked kind of about mine. I guess my big one was I grew up in Indiana. I grew up in West Lafayette, Indiana. That's where I went to high school and a little bit of college and stuff. And I dropped out of college and decided that I was going to move to either New York or Los Angeles to go do music. And to make the decision, I flipped a coin, and that's what brought me out here, and that's led me to all the things that one coin toss is. Without that, I'm not here. I'm not sitting here talking with you guys. I'm doing something else. Who knows what it would have been? But it was definitely a tipping point or a complete change in my life that was such a easy kind of thing to do it with, that some people might think was crazy, but I felt like I didn't have anything to lose either direction. So it was just kind of like, I can't decide. I have option paralysis sometimes, and I have a really hard time picking things because I research too much. So I left it up to that.
Fun. And so far, no regrets for either of you?
No regrets.
No. I things are pretty good. Things are pretty good.
Yeah.
What I want to go back to was the way you got into the life coaching and that weekend that you had that, geared towards mothers and stuff like that. And I think that's something that isn't necessarily talked about a lot. And I'm sure once I say it, you're going to be like, yep, mom guilt. My wife goes through it all the time with, like, my wife, Jen, is an amazing mother, and she has a hard time doing certain things, because she's like, well, I'm away from the kids and they have this and they have that. So, how did you deal with that?
Good question. Good question. How old are your kids?
9 and 6.
Okay. All right. So when our kids were born, Eric wasn't out on the road yet. So we were living like kind of a typical family in Minnesota, and the traveling didn't start until our kids were like 5 and 6, 6 and 7, somewhere right in there. They're only like 18 months apart, so right in that phase. But when they were born, I was just like elated that I could be there. And I didn't have to leave them every day and go somewhere else or go to an office or whatever. I could just be a full-time mom. And I was delighted with that because, we're making people here. So I don't know of any other job. I don't care who you are and what the job is. There isn't really a job that trumps that. Mm-hmm. We're making people.
Yeah, if you stop making those, there are no other jobs.
We're making people. So I don't care if you're a doctor, the president, a lawyer, you're putting, shooting people out into space. We're making people. Right. So I think that women, for some, for a lot of reasons, it's not a mystery, but our culture has managed to minimize that, the importance of taking care of the people that you're making. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's somehow you're just a mom. And I literally saw on a social media on Facebook the other day, a mom who started a podcast, and her podcast name is Just a Mom. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm just the mom, with the voice and whatever. And I'm sure it'll be lovely. Now, it's not to knock her content or her concept, but I was like, that's that's exactly what is annoying, is that it's not just a mom. Like you're
Words
making
matter. Yeah.
people. There should be no just anywhere in the sentence.
Right.
So I think that if you have the luxury, not every mom does, but if you have the luxury to be able to figure out a way to be there with your kids, that's awesome. If that's what you want. And if that's just not a good fit for you and you want to go have a career outside of that, okay. Don't feel guilty then. Figure it out. Figure out the way that that's going to work for you and your family, and do what you need to do. But guilt doesn't serve you unless it's telling you that maybe you're not being true to what you really want. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe you're okay and you don't have any guilt. And I know a lot of women that have worked full time with all of their kids, and maybe their dad or the father, or is there full time or whatever, or they have caretakers, and everybody's fine and everybody's good and it works out great. But I think you have to figure out what works for you, make it work, and don't feel guilty about it, because it's very tricky to have a balance. I didn't start doing my own thing outside of really focusing on being a mom till my kids so this was like 2008. I mean, my kids they're probably older than you guys. They were born in 84 and 85. So they were like off and out of the house by now. And then I went, okay, they don't need me. I don't need to be a full-time mom now. But all this time that we've been raising them, I have also been cultivating myself. I've also been reading and studying and practicing and doing my spiritual work and my personal development and my self-improvement. So I've been doing all of this the whole time. I've been studying and working on it. So by the time they were out of the house, I was like, now I'm ready to do something and I don't have to have guilt about it. I can devote myself full time to whatever it is I want to do. And we kind of kicked it off with that weekend that I told you about, that personal development event, which we called Motherhood Redefined. And that was the turning point.
That's
so
awesome.
It was just a timing issue, really, for me. But guilt, if there's guilt, you either need to reprioritize, or you just need to be okay with what you've decided works for you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, because she does work full time. She's a speech pathologist. She's working full time. I think when it comes to that, it's more of the extracurriculars and things like that, where she's like, all right, well, I've been out, I've been working, and now coming back, it's I feel bad going out with my friends for a drink because I've been doing this and I haven't been home for all day with my kids. And it's like, well, you know what? You live here, they see you every day. It's okay. You can take a break every once in a while. Work is not a break.
You're
Right.
important too.
Yeah. I mean, you really do. It's very personal. I really do think that you have to you can't just lose yourself in motherhood. You can't just lose yourself in your profession if you have children. I mean, you can, but you're going to pay for it. You have to figure out, either way, you're going to pay for it, because most of us are kind of multi-dimensional beings, and in order to feel like we have a balanced and fulfilling life, we're going to wear different hats throughout the day or the week. And when if you're a two-parent family, you're going to have your hat on that's going to work. If one or both goes to work, that's my profession, or I'm bringing home a paycheck, whatever. You're going to have your hat on. That's my parenting hat. And then hopefully you're going to have I'm your boyfriend, you're my girlfriend still hat, so that you don't lose that foundation part of your relationship, or whatever the situation is in your household, your wife, I don't know, whatever's going on in your house, whatever it is, the relationship has to be solid. That's the foundation. So nothing can be neglected for too long. None of those areas that, the boxes that are important for you to check, then you need to make sure you're touching each one of them on a regular basis so that it's kind of like spinning plates a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
sure.
Yeah, and it's going to be like that for a while. When you're in the thick of it, when your kids are young, it seems like, oh my God, you're just running around trying to keep the plates from falling. But then pretty soon one day, all those plates are gone. And then you're left with just you and hopefully your partner, if you have one. And so you will hope that you have kept that percolating and strong along the journey too, so that once the kids are like, sayonara, you're not going, who are you? Now what do we do?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I also love the fact that you're like, oh, my kids are much younger than you. They were born in 84 and 85. I was like, yes.
I didn't say anything about that either. I was like, yeah.
Are you guys older
84.
than that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
1927.
Okay.
Maybe.
He was born in 1927.
Okay. You're aging so well. That's your secret.
Vampire.
Jameson and T.
Jameson.
Right.
Clean living. All that clean living.
So I just want to clarify. So Mike, you've got the 2 kids, but Jimmy, you don't have kids yet.
I don't have any kids. No.
Okay. Gotcha. Just curious.
No, he still is a kid.
Yes.
That's okay.
I will always be. Peter Pan Complex is strong in this one.
I like it. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Jimmy, you had something?
Oh, I was. I didn't know who was coming in, so I wanted to bring up like one of the quotes that I really liked, and it kind of spoke to me as well. Was life is both too long and too short to be anything less than what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. Right. And that also feeds into the, that message of shifting your perspective and figuring out like where you are, where you want to be, and how you're making those moves. What has been your personal way of shifting your perspective? And because I know a lot of people that do or try and look at things from a different way, but then it's hard to stay on that track. Mm-hmm. You've shifted your perspective. You look at it, you see the goal and you see the way to get there. And then something just kind of pulls you back to that other way of looking at things. Like, what's been your way of kind of holding on to it?
Yeah, it's a constant practice. It really is. It's once you figure out, or you think you figure out your new perspective or a better way of looking at things or approaching things, you really have to work at making that your new way of being, because we're pretty well programmed by the time we're 7. So between being in the uterus and age 7, you're like this sponge that's been downloaded with everybody's influence. So all of the people in your life that have been influencing you and teaching you, parents, teachers, for some people it's, in the church or whatever, whoever those people are, though, are most of them well-intentioned. They're modeling behavior and teaching values, and they're demonstrating how you should, be in the world, that what your beliefs should be, what your values should be, how you should respond and react to things. So you pick all that up and it's sort of programmed into you. And by the time you're 7, that's pretty well set. And any psychologist will tell you that. So if all the stuff that's been downloaded into you is awesome, you're in pretty good shape, probably.
Right,
but chances are somebody along the way maybe, gave you some ideas. I mean, there are obviously kids that have had a bad experience. There's trauma. There's all kinds of shit that goes on.
Many things can poison the well.
Yeah, right. But so, when you're a young person or a child, you don't yet have enough world experience and knowledge and wisdom. You don't have enough of anything to make the most proper or accurate or empowering meaning out of a situation. So something might happen, or somebody might, you might be treated a certain way, and you might think, this happened, so this means that. And it might be something that's not very positive, right? Yeah. Or I'm being treated like this by, my older sister or brother, or the kids at school, or the teacher, or, or my dad, or somebody. So you make meaning out of that, and you develop a belief around that. And then that's like set in your subconscious as you go through life. So a lot of times people get to a point in their adult life and they're like, I know I should be doing this. I know I should stop doing that. I know they know all of these things that they want to do or change or stop doing or stop thinking, or these behaviors, and they just can't seem to figure it out. They can't get past the block. They can't make it happen. They can't achieve it. And oftentimes it goes back to these subconscious beliefs that are playing back there from childhood. But they're like lurking in the shadows, so you've got to find a way, like working with a therapist or a coach or whatever, to get to the source of what's blocking you, of what's keeping you from being able to, achieve or accomplish or, get through whatever challenge is up for you at the time. So I've been rambling now for an hour. I don't remember what your original question was.
No, it was good. It was the question was about how you have shifted your perspective.
Yes.
And then, it was all about practicing and keeping
Right. So as doing my own work and coming back to that, realizing, okay, I think, if this is something that I want to change in my life or shift in my life, I need to figure out, why do I have this behavior? Okay, maybe that's what it was or is. But either way, now if I want to shift that, I have to really work at it. I got to understand what's been keeping me from it. And then I got to work at developing the new behavior, because we're creatures of habit. And so, if you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s, now for 30, 40, 50 years, you've been practicing to be the way you are right now. So now you're really freaking good at it, right? Because you've been practicing your whole life to be what you are right now. So it takes work and a constant awareness of what you're trying to do, and then catching yourself, which you'll do if you keep practicing. And sometimes you got to start literally with like Post-its and sticky notes reminding you of whatever it is you're trying to change. And you got to seriously, affirmations help, because you're trying to download, you're trying to reprogram, you're trying to get a new tape to play. So it's just the mind, one of the rules of the mind is that it loves repetitiveness. It loves to repeat things. Repetition. Exactly. So it sounds, but that's how you learned, that's how you learned adding and subtracting when you were a kid in school with flashcards. You just did it over and over and over and over. And now it's just in your brain, right? So when you want to learn this new perspective, a new attitude, a new behavior, you have to just practice over and over and tell your mind that that's what you want, because the mind will do what you tell it to do with practice.
Yeah, I love that. I recently read, it was, I can't remember who I read it from, but they were talking about anxiety, and they were talking about how the brain releases the same chemical for anxiety that it does for excitement. And so the affirmation of sometimes, and I've used this, I teach vocals and guitar to kids. I work with students and stuff. So when they have stage fright, it's one of the things I have worked with to tell them is I'm like, okay, so you're feeling this, you're feeling that. I want you to say out loud that you're excited. Let's just talk about how excited you are. And let's keep saying, I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to do this. This is exciting. This is going to be a cool thing. And the more they start to do that repetition, it kind of helps attach the feeling to that word instead, because we get hung up on words instead of like, here's what I'm feeling and here's what it could be if I aim it. Yeah.
That's such a good point, because you're right. You know, if you talk to different people going out on stage to perform, somebody might say, I'm so afraid or I'm so anxious, and the other person is excited. But when you say describe the feelings, they're the same feelings.
Right. It's exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you just give it a more empowering word for what you're feeling, you can shift the meaning. So now it's not something to be afraid about. It's something that you're excited about. And it's a whole different approach.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So before we get into some fun stuff with about cooking, because we are cooks as well.
Yes.
We love cooking and stuff like
cooks,
that.
Not
and
chefs.
I love.
We are cooks.
Yeah. we do some dabbling.
Okay.
We do have to pay some bills.
Indeed.
And one of the way we pay those bills is back here, this little company called Pod Decks. They actually do have physical decks. Because we're working remotely today, we're going to use the mobile app, which Jimsy has on his phone. And
right here. So for those of you that are watching this, you can actually see kind of the app right here. You can download it straight from poddex.com. You can also find it on the App Store.
Yes.
Or whatever your phone does.
Yeah. So what Poddex is it's actually for like budding podcasters, people looking to break the ice, people without verbal diarrhea like we have.
Indeed.
And, just little conversation starters, if you will. So they make these decks. Within each deck is 50 cards. Within each card is a question. And what we like to do is have our guest pick a deck subject and then pick a random question from that deck. So Jimmy, you got some options for it?
Yeah, since we're going from the app now, instead of our normal 6 decks with 50 questions in each deck, I'm looking at quite a bit of decks here that are all going to give us a random question. So I'm just going to give you a couple of the topics for the decks. We'll let you pick one, and then we'll grab a random question. We have, how dare you?
Okay.
We also have, what the fuck?
This is the how dare you?
We also have deal breakers.
Okay.
Which we don't have in the studio.
Yeah.
And we have, let's see, I'll give another one. What can be a fun one that we can do here? There is a deck for this or that. So I like those kind of choices as well. So we have this or that. We have how dare you? We have what the fuck?
Okay.
And deal breakers. Which one would you like a question?
2 of them have physical decks right here.
Yes, they do.
Oh, wow. Look at that. You actually do have. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, God, this is hard. They all sound pretty intriguing. I think I'm just going to have to go with what the fuck?
What the fuck? So, since we're not shuffling, I will just let everybody know that you can go to poddex.com. You can check out these decks plus many more. Plus, they have some cool swag. You can get T-shirts that do not itch the nipples because those are shitty T-shirts.
Those are offensive.
Good, soft style. Everyone's bought one. Bought one.
Good to know.
So, you can go there. You can fill up your cart, and then you can use the promo code BACON.
Because everything is better with bacon.
And you can get 10% off your entire order.
Nice.
Now, these questions can be anywhere from G-rated to what did you just say to me? So,
right.
Okay.
Just a heads up. So, Jimmy, you got yourself
yes,
a thingy
I'm
there.
Jumping into the what the fuck questions right here. And I'm going to flip. All right. What is the sexiest name and the least sexy name? First or last?
Oh, like just in general?
I guess in general. Like we said, random questions.
Okay. Well, I think I'm like the one that came up first for least sexiest name would be Ethel.
Ethel's pretty
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
agree?
that's a good one.
I mean,
That's a good one.
Gertrude is very close,
it is. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Ethel
But we're
probably
definitely in an
is-
era there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Either Grandma Dolores, like those.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry if there's anybody named Ethel listening. It's just got to call it like you see
You
it.
know what, Ethel? You can do it. You've got middle names. You can also overcome anything. You just got to do it, and you got to show you're sexy, girl. You got to do it.
Yeah.
You can also change your name.
Yeah,
You could change your
It's a
name,
free country.
right? Right. My grandmother hated her first name, so she went by her middle name her whole life. Her first name was Mildred. I can't blame her.
Mildred's in there too with those.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't blame her.
Yeah.
I don't blame her. So okay.
What was her middle name? What was her middle name?
Elaine.
Oh yeah, way better.
Oh yeah,
way better.
Elaine's
Exponentially
nice,
better.
right?
That's a great name. Yeah.
I agree. And so then it's my middle name. My mother named me Elaine for my middle name. So
Nice.
I'm really glad I didn't get the Mildred.
Yeah. Right. Right.
there you
Right.
go.
Then you knew she liked you
Yeah.
right away.
Right. Exactly. Oh, okay. So sexiest name. Okay. How about, cool. What's a sexy name? Sexy. Let's see. Oh, that's hard.
What makes a name sexy?
I feel like the as far as like making a name sexy, for whatever reason, it's got to be like of Hispanic descent or
Ooh.
French, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gotta- It's
Yeah.
gonna roll the tongue a little bit.
Like where it kind of
I mean that if you have to use your tongue to say the name, then it has to be inherently sexier. I suppose.
Okay. And I don't know any foreign languages. I'm trying to think of names that would be like French or Spanish,
French
where I
would be
have
like
to roll my tongue, like
Louis.
Maria or
Yeah.
or
I just did a little bit of Google searching here,
okay.
and
Did you?
I'm gonna say this is not true, even though it's on the internet, and we all know that everything on the internet is true.
Yeah.
Okay.
100 hottest girl names. Number 1 is Adele. Number 2 is Adriana. I mean, I
feel like they're just going alphabetically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I mean,
I don't know about that.
yeah.
I
I'm
don't
not.
know.
I mean, did they mean hottest meaning popular? Like not
Well,
necessarily.
the question was sexiest, not
Sexy.
hottest. So that was specific.
But no,
right.
it says 100 sexy girl names.
Really?
Huh.
Oh, no, we got to come up with something way better than that. Like even when I try to think of somebody that you would think is like a sexy performer, and it's not limited to women, right?
Right.
So it
No,
could be a guy.
Not.
Yeah, that can be sexy man names.
I'm trying to look. I had to like specifically look for that for guy name. Oh my god. Number 1 is Abe.
Abe? As in
Yeah,
Lincoln?
I think they're
Like-
just going
like Lincoln.
alphabetically.
I'm not feeling that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Corbin. No,
If I saw a movie and they were like Abe and Adele went on a date, I'd be like, that doesn't sound sexy to me.
no. I think Aaron is nice.
Aaron's a nice name. Yeah,
It's like
that's gotta-
strong because I guess it seems sexy to me because it's a strong name, I think.
Right, right.
Plus, it's Eric's middle name.
No, there you go.
okay. Harley.
Truth be told.
Hannibal.
Eric, Aaron.
Yeah.
That alliteration is strong.
right. Hannibal? I mean,
Hannibal.
Hannibal?
seriously?
It sounds like cannibal.
Well,
And also a lot
and
like
also
Hannibal
Lecter.
Lecter.
right, exactly. I don't think sexy is in any way. Somebody was high when they put that list together.
I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
I
with
concur.
Yeah.
You. So
Maybe Sophia.
That's
kind of a-
that's
Oh, I
good.
like that one.
Yes. That's it. You nailed it. Sophia's a beautiful name.
Yeah.
And then you had the beautiful, sexy actress, Sophia Loren, who was
Yeah.
like the,
That's what I
yes.
thought of actually, and I was like, she's sexy. I was trying to think of like beautiful, sexy people.
Yes.
But then like
And-
I also thought of like Brad Pitt, and Brad is just a shit name.
yeah, Brett. No, that's boring. And on the line, though, I should have thought of this. This is silly. Marilyn Monroe. You probably can't tell this
Marilyn.
black and white picture behind me, but that's a picture of Marilyn Monroe
Marilyn is
Oh,
a
okay.
bench
great-
pressing.
Nice. That's awesome.
Marilyn, yeah. So there we go. Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Whew.
Something that I'm super interested in is so you are the self-proclaimed goddess of the kitchen, and Eric is the god of the grill. So I know that you guys like to get together and you do cooking together and stuff like that. So what is like the quintessential meal where all of the superpowers come together?
Yes. What is the Voltron meal that uses all your powers?
Well, I don't know if this is the one, but literally as we speak, we're cooking something. So what we did today, I'll tell you this, and then I'll see if there's another like the meal. But what we're doing today, and we love this, but we're doing something a little different. So it's getting to be fall. We're making a batch of chili. And so we thought out, we have venison. So we had thought out venison, and Eric's like, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try putting the venison meat on the smoker and smoking it a little bit before we put it in the chili, so we get that infused smokiness into the chili, right? So before I jumped on with you guys, I was helping in the kitchen with the stuff inside, onions, garlic, the pot, the beans, all that good stuff. And then he was getting the venison ready out on the smoker. And because venison is game, so it's lean, it's not super fatty, right?
Gotta be
So
quick.
so he put some we bought some Hatch chili olive oil yesterday. So he put some olive oil in the venison so that the fat could soak up the smoke essence, right? Because you need something for the smoke to kind of grab onto. So that's what we have going on today. And we do love to make chili. This is something we do every fall and, a couple times throughout the winter. And we do a huge pot of it, like a really big pot together. And part of it, yes, happens out on the grill because whatever meat we're going to use, he's going to do it out there. He's going to smoke chicken or, game or something. And then we're going to bring it in and finish it inside. So that's kind of a fun project that we do a lot.
Fact,
and
there is turkey chili in the crock pot right now waiting.
There you go.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I love crock potting too. But let's see. Other than that, like a meal that, he does some pretty freaking awesome reverse sear steaks. So we can get some really amazing from our local butcher here. It's all Wyoming raised meat, and we can get some meat that some beef that's a half Wagyu and half beef.
Nice.
And then he does a reverse sear out on the grill, and then I'll do something inside. But we don't usually get too crazy. We're very much about a salad and a protein. We don't do a lot of. Exactly. Yeah. So
are you a meat and bean chili or just a meat chili?
Meat and beans.
Beans.
Yeah. We like the beans too. I know that different regions have their different. Some of it's just meat.
Rules. Like it's one or the other.
Yeah.
You don't combine.
Yeah, but no, I just feel like I need both.
Which beans do you use?
He's just bought. I think the beans he got today they're chili beans. So.
Oh, okay.
He just buys the cans of chili beans. So.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we for a long time we did kidney beans, just red kidney beans.
Yeah.
We switched to black beans.
Oh yeah.
And that was a welcome switch. I really love that.
You like that better?
Another fun fact, we like to use like cocoa powder and stuff.
Yes.
I've used
chili and cocoa, man.
Yep. I have two.
Young's chocolate stout beer.
Oh, that's interesting.
I've had chili with that as well. And
really?
It is amazing.
So would you just like pour it right into the pot? Like
Yep, right into the slow cooker.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually do at least one. I usually do a bottle of beer in my chili as well. Just usually it's a stout or something like that.
Okay, something with some weight
Heavier.
to it.
Yeah, some
thicker.
body
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. And we have done the cocoa before. That's a really good secret for chili.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what else I did once that was very interesting. It was sort of a crazy moment. Is I pureed up some roasted beets
Ooh,
and I put those in the chili. Because you want to have a little bit of something kind of just mildly sweet to balance the acidity of tomatoes and stuff, right?
yeah.
And so when you roast beets, they get sweet, and then you have this beautiful color from the beets. So I pureed them up and put those in, and that was like a pretty winning combination too.
Ooh, nice.
I love beets. I make this beet salad. It was inspired by this restaurant, like a takeout restaurant, believe it or not. And it's a beet salad. Just chop up the beets, regular, romaine lettuce, but you use goat cheese and then I candy walnuts.
Okay.
My mom does a beet and walnut thing in the oven. Like it's a roasted beets and walnuts. Which
nice.
I love beets. They stain everything, but I love them.
Yeah. I know it's worth the staining. My fingernails are all stained, everything's stained, but it's worth it. But I do a version of a beet salad too, like that. We use goat cheese or blue cheese, and then sometimes walnuts, or if I have pine nuts, I'll toast pine nuts and put those on there. Yeah, on a bed of mixed greens, and then I do a balsamic reduction drizzled over with a little olive oil.
Nice.
Insane.
Yeah, that's the way to go. The balsamic, I don't have the reduction per se. I do like it's like honey mustard and maple syrup and it's like honey Dijon mustard. I'm sorry, Dijon mustard, olive oil, balsamic, and oregano. And
that sounds good too.
It does sound
very
delicious.
good. Maple
Yum.
syrup. Maple syrup.
I love it. I love the food talk.
It is so good. It is so good. Yeah, we could talk forever.
We enjoy the food. People always think at first that this is like a food podcast. When they come in.
Oh, because of the bacon.
Because of the bacon. So then when we explain, like, no, it's like, bacon. You put it on any plate, it makes it better. What's the thing in your life? Like that type of thing. But at first, it's always that. But then we're always quick to be like, we can talk food the whole time if you'd like. Pizza is one of the first questions.
We could talk
pizza?
Jimmy's mac and cheese. It costs $120 to make, but it
does.
Oh wow, you have some gourmet cheese on that thing.
A lot of gourmet cheeses. Yeah, because you got to get like a smoked cheese, but then you got to get a good melter, but then you also got to get something that's like got a nuttiness to it that's more sharp. And that, so you really got to get in there so you have textures and flavors, and then there's bacon in it, and then you got to get the right pasta.
That sounds amazing. Serious.
He does a hell of a mac and cheese. So
it sounds like it.
I do like once or twice a year because that's all you can eat of it.
Yeah, it sounds rich. It's rich.
It is.
You eat a square of it and you're like, I'm going to sit down now for a day and a half.
I bet.
So
a little goes a long way.
We've definitely taken up a lot of your time, and you've got chili to tend to.
Yes.
So before we sign off here, can you please let everybody know where they can find everything Loree Bischoff and your podcast and the book?
All right. Well, thank you. I've had a blast with you guys. This has been really fun.
Awesome.
And so LoreeBischoff.com is the best place to go. That'll connect you with all the places where you can find the podcast, which is We're Talking Shift, and it's on Apple, Spotify, everywhere else, all the major platforms. It's on YouTube. I think it's just Loree Bischoff on YouTube, actually. And the book is also on the website. It's on Amazon as well. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual suspects, and all those links are on the website. So it's pretty easy to find me. And
we'll also have all those links below.
If
you're watching on YouTube, you'll find it there. If you're watching on Strangerhood TV, you'll find all the links below as well. Loree, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Really cool. Yeah. Thanks for inviting me. I'm honored to be on. I'm honored to be on Bacon is My Podcast. I love it. It's a great name, and you guys are a blast. Thank you for having me.
It's our second Bischoff.
Our second Bischoff, right? We had one in our first at the beginning of our podcast, and now we've been here for a year and a half, and we've got our second.
Awesome. I'm honored. Thank you so much, you guys. It was fun.
Thank you so much. And everybody that's listening, remember to ask yourself every single day, what is that thing that makes your life a little bit better? What is that thing that makes your day a little bit brighter? Your food tastes better. Your music sounds nicer. Laura, do you remember the question?
The question?
Yeah,
we told you had 7 questions.
The question.
No, the most important question. We said there was a test.
What is it? What's your
bacon?
What's my bacon? Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's my bacon. I'm sorry. What's my bacon?
Loree's was gratitude.
It was gratitude.
Loree's was gratitude, or is gratitude. I wouldn't say was. That's past.
Yeah, it still is. It still is. All this time later, it still is. A grateful heart.
You driving in your car, we see you. You listening, you watching online. What's yours? What's your bacon? Thanks for hanging out.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Both got it.
We did it virtually.
That's
better than we do when we're next to each other.
Right. Well, what they say is with like paranormal stuff is the virtual stuff like a cell phone connection or internet connection is even better to communicate with ghouls.
All right, so maybe a ghoul said that with us.
Maybe we're just ghouls.
Could be.
Perhaps. Speaking of ghouls, next week we've got Lindsay Paranormal.
Yeah,
which will be cool.
Which will be fun.
Our
nice segue.
Halloween episode, if
segue.
you will. Thanks. I've been working on that.
Yeah. Were you waiting?
No.
Were you waiting for that one?
No, I wasn't working on that. I was not at all. Jimmy. Well, first off, thank you, Loree, for hanging out with us.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely
a cool episode. I hope everybody took a little bit of something away from it. Check her out. Check her book out. Check the podcast out. Podcast costs you nothing. I mean,
absolutely,
just do it.
And it's good. We didn't even get into why she's never watched Gremlins, but it is an early episode of her podcast, which you can check out, where she talks about like Jim Carrey and stuff like that too.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So, Jimsy,
yes,
where can they find you?
You can find me, Jimmy G Shoes, on all the socials. Find me there. Check me out. Say hello. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and I'll probably not pay attention to it. My band, Craving Strange, you can find at cravingstrange.net. And from there, you can find all of our socials, everything that we're up to, and all links to everything, including Strangerhood TV, which is where you can find Bacon is My Podcast. If you want to see us
in visual form,
if you want to know what we look like, see if what you're thinking in your head is what we look like. I'd be anxious to know what you think, when you just hear a voice, because I have a picture in my head of podcast hosts.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I see them, I'm always disappointed.
Very much.
So come to strangerhoodtv.com and allow us to disappoint you. Actually, our dumb faces are on everything that we put out anyway. So
yeah, that's true. That's very true.
That is there. So, but you can find that at baconismypodcast.com, where you can also find Bacon is My Passion, because we have a band and we put out some music and we have some clothing and all kinds of stuff. If you want to help the show, just like going on Patreon and being one of our patrons, you could also help us that way. But we got all kinds of extra stuff. Mike, what about you, sir?
What about me? I mean, honestly, what about me? First off, I want to shout out the BIMP squad over at patreon.com/baconismypodcast for getting these early episodes commercial free, a little bit of extra content. We had some, we did the one chip challenge on Strangerhood TV.
I hate you.
A little while ago.
That was so bad.
That was like a little taste of something that we normally do on our Patreon.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was
Terrible.
It was hot. It was hot. It hurt my stomach for a few hours after that.
For sure.
But yeah, enough about that. Myself, I met me my own self, Mike. You can catch my adventures in family, in banding, and in all other things there on all of the social medias. You can also check out my band at Something Heavy Music. Something Heavy is my band, and we have music, and we have a song out now. So go check it out on all the streaming platforms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And always remember to ask yourself something super duper important.
What
is the time setting on this fucking this screensaver? That's what I want to know.
What is that screensaver? And once you find out what that screensaver is, everyone at home can find out what's your banking.
Oh, that's important. That's more important. I agree.
Well, pizza.
Nice.